Years ago, the noble Ethiopian lion proudly roamed the jungles and plains of this East African nation and was regarded with great respect. The lion was almost symbolic of Africa. Unfortunately, the population of Ethiopian lions has declined greatly, and some now live in captivity under horrific conditions. At one time, Ethiopia was home to a wide range of endemic wildlife. But now, most of those animal species appear to be near extinction. Ethiopia, located in the heart of the African continent, has faced decades of devastating turmoil, such as droughts, famines, civil conflicts, and border wars. Millions of its citizens have been on the brink of starvation. These problems affect the nation's wildlife, too. A country once blessed with grassy highlands, lakes, forests, and remote mountains, only 12% of the land in Ethiopia is now arable. The country faces major environmental issues such as deforestation, overgrazing, soil erosion, and desertification. At the same time, Ethiopia must maintain the delicate balance between biodiversity and its endemic animal species. The uniqueness of Ethiopia's unique but fragile biodiversity has attracted the interest of conservationists and ecologists from all over the world, who recognize the vital importance to preserve it. Recently, Dr. Antena Roba, an Ethiopian native who lives in the United States, traveled to his home country to document the condition of wildlife there. Wildlife in Ethiopia includes the fabled hartebeest, the Ethiopian red wolf, gazelles, the mountain nyala, which is part of the antelope family, shy wild ass, baboons, ostriches, flamingos, zebras, lions, elephants, and the hippopotamus. Ethiopia is a land of great natural beauty, with rugged mountains, broad savannas, lakes, and rivers. The unique Rift Valley, a remarkable region of volcanic lakes featuring great escarpments and stunning vistas, is home to large collections of birdlife. With 13 major wildlife preserves, Ethiopia is a microcosm of the entire sub-Saharan ecosystem. Birdlife abounds, and in many regions, indigenous animals roam free, just as nature intended. Because of its position near the equator, Ethiopia is a land with a great range of biological diversity and aquatic ecosystems. More than 30 mammal species are native to Ethiopia, as well as 6 reptiles and 33 amphibians. More than 845 bird species are known, and new species are still being discovered. Many birds live in the rainforests of the southern and western highlands. Regardless of Ethiopia's location and natural resources, many of its animal species are threatened, such as the mountain nyala and the Ethiopian wolf. The Ethiopian wolf, sometimes referred to as the Semian red fox, is regarded as the world's rarest canine. It is facing destruction because of rabies spread by roaming packs of dogs and because of human encroachment. Believed to have been descendants of wolves that located here during the Ice Age, fewer than 400 of these animals remain today. The population of the mountain nyala, Africa's large antelope, is declining rapidly also. The nyala is known for its distinctive spiral horns. Other critically endangered species include the dibitag, also known as the Somalian gazelle, and the famous Swain's hartebeest. The strange-looking hartebeest is one of Ethiopia's 33 endemic mammals. The hartebeest appears to be part buffalo and part horse, but is actually antelope. Because of the loss of their habitat, the hartebeest is now found in only 4 locations in Ethiopia. 70 to 80 years ago, this area was home to rhinos, giraffes, leopards, and cheetahs. They no longer exist here.
this whole area was just pure forest. I mean, thick forest. So much so that you could not see the lake from this vantage point because of the trees. It was a pure forest, and as you can see now, not only can you see the lake, there's no forest. It's been destroyed. And this, by the way, is a national park. This is supposed to be protected.
Some people may envision Ethiopia as nothing more than desert, but in truth, it has some of the most dramatic landscapes in Africa. Most large mammals now live in Ethiopia's 13 wildlife preserves and national parks. Many of the national parks are overrun with thousands of cattle, goats, and sheep from the new settlers. People move into the parks with their livestock and settle permanently. When they start to cultivate the ground, that drives out the wildlife. The Abiata Shala Wildlife Preserve is fast becoming a desert because of overgrazing and faces encroachment on all sides. It is reported that the lake's water is being removed for industrial uses. The wastewater is then reintroduced to the lakes. Since the water is often toxic, the fish are dying. One expert says the conservation plans are in shambles. These lakes are home to cranes, flamingos, and pelicans that use the lake as a feeding area and breeding ground. In the Awash National Park, there is encroachment in all sections of the park by nomads with their herds of cattle, camels, goats, and sheep. The Awash Park region features dry savanna with some woodlands. Animals living in the park include dik-dik, kudu, bisa oryx, gazelle, ostriches, and a very wide variety of birds. In a recent interview, the warden of Awash Park said the bird species are leaving and going to neighboring countries. Bali Mountains National Park in the densely forested highlands is both forest and moorland. Animals living in the park include gelada baboon, gray duiker, giant mole rat, klipspringer, reedbuck, Menelik bushback, mountain nyala, simian jackal, warthog, and a great variety of birds. Bali National Park is known for its attractive alpine lakes and rushing mountain streams that descend into deep rocky gorges. Bali Park is divided into two parts by the Harena Escarpment. At the end of the Harena Escarpment is the Harena Forest, a beautiful misty mountain forest which transforms into a rainforest in the lowlands. With scenic waterfalls and high plateaus, this is the home of the olive baboon and the Bali monkey, endemic to this area. Only 2% of the world's landmass contains areas of important biodiversity, and Bali Park falls into this category. The park has a great variety of altitude and topography. A major part of the Bali Park, and location of some of the most breathtaking mountain scenery in all of Africa, is the massive Seneti Plateau, which has long been a habitat for the Ethiopian wolf. It is believed to be the longest high-altitude plateau in the world and rises to 4,350 meters at its peak. The Seneti Plateau drops 1,500 meters where the Harena Forest begins. At least 4 mammals and 2 bird species in Ethiopia are facing extinction: the Walia ibex, Ethiopian wolf, mountain nyala, and gravy zebras, as well as the white-winged flufftail and Ankobersarin bird species are endangered and could soon disappear. The Wildlife Institute says the population may soon drop below the numbers needed for survival unless significant changes are made. Another 9 big mammal species and 14 bird species are also vulnerable, mostly because of the extensive deforestation. 100 years ago, 35% of the land was forest. Now, only 2% of the land is forest. Losing the forests is a major socio-economic impact because it affects the climate of the region and water preservation. When the forests disappear, the wildlife disappears. The problems affecting the survival of Ethiopia's endangered wildlife and delicate biodiversity including encroachment, war and civil strife, hunting, poverty, food shortages and starvation, and government apathy. Conservancy in Ethiopia is in its infancy, but park wardens and other public officials are beginning to see the value of wildlife conservation and protection of the environment in their regions. We must act quickly to preserve Ethiopia's endangered and endemic animal species.